Good afternoon, Joe.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Oh, good. Spent too much of my morning trying to watch Gary Gensler while working. Kind of a fruitless, frustrating thing to do. Not sure why I did that.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Brad. I was just going to tell him I don't think that's the best use of his time, but um, here he comes.
Let's try again. All right.
Yeah,
That was weird.
yeah. It's our Gary Gensler fan.
Yeah, because he said a lot of things that were surprising.
Really?
No, not
Yeah, I don't see much intellectual heft coming out of him.
They tried to pin him down on whether ETH is a security or commodity. He refused to answer the question.
Didn't they call it in that Bittrex thing yesterday? Didn't they call it a security there?
They did. Was ETH one of the six? I'm not sure, actually, now that you say that.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't remember either. I just thought maybe it was.
I don't think it was. Just Algorand. By the way, we've got this little video is swooping around. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but we'll play it real quick just for shits and giggles.
Is this when he was shilling like Uber?
Is tough. You could.
Yeah.
Governance is tough. You could create Uber or Lyft on top of a blockchain technology today. Well, maybe in 5 years you could. It would have the performance. Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT that I work with. Sylvia's got a great technology that has the performance. You could create Uber on top of it. The question is then who would update this?
Yeah, and now he's going to fuck his buddy over.
I love that other one that was going around when he was shilling Algorand. If you'd put $100 in it, it would be worth $5 now.
Exactly. No, that was awesome.
So my thing with that, isn't that sounds like securities fraud to me.
Sure, it certainly sounds like it certainly sounds like common everyday shilling that people have been charged with by the SEC.
Yeah.
Especially if he was paid for speaking at that gig. Now, look, there are limits. If it wasn't Algorand paying him, they'll say that he had no financial interest, blah, blah, blah. But it's just kind of the whole thing of, here's a guy that goes from being a big advocate for blockchain technologies, crypto technologies, and building financial services on top of it. And then once it suited his job description to no longer be like that, he's going to come down on it. And it just tells me that there's no integrity behind his motivation, right? That there's nothing there of substance. It's all about the game of protecting the people that are already in the space and advancing his career, right? And so, at the risk of, harming the industry that he was such a big advocate for before he got the new gig. So,
yeah, I almost wonder though that, I mean, we know Wall Street's the biggest investor in this space right now.
right.
Institutional market players are. So I can't see them being, they're never happy with the SEC in general.
Right.
It's a constant battle with them. And so I can't see them being happy with him right now. So I don't know I don't get his motivations anymore, because the Hill's after him, CFTC's after him, crypto industry's after him, Wall Street's after him. I don't know where he goes.
Yeah, I don't know
at this point. So
well,
I think he's just one of those guys who feels like, I'm going to be right. I'm going to be right.
That's true. That's probably it.
So,
here's the thing that bothers me most about this hearing is we as an industry have lost the narrative game. One of the things I was most concerned about over the last couple of years was allowing this thing to become a partisan issue. And sadly, participants in this space tend to lean right. And when there still are a number of Democrats that support cryptocurrency freedom and financial freedom, and rather than lifting those folks up and giving them ammunition, we've now firmly helped to cement making this issue a partisan issue, at least in the eyes of the general public. And that is never a good thing, because when an issue becomes a partisan issue, one side is always going to want, each side is always going to want to win, and they will do whatever it takes, no matter the reasoning, logic, or value of anything that they need to oppose or be for. And so I think we've lost that narrative game. I think there's still an opportunity to get it back. Like I said, but the problem is the people on the Democratic side of the aisle that support cryptocurrencies are going to find themselves in a position of speaking out is basically speaking out against the narrative of your party. And that never goes well. So sadly, I think that's going to be a result of this whole thing. Niblet says, watching Monty Burns squirm has had its entertaining moments. It hasn't. He's fumbled and screwed up, and I haven't watched the whole thing, just bits and pieces. But he definitely has had some struggles, and he's definitely being grilled. You know, fucking Brad Sherman is kissing his ass and, you know, using crypto bro billionaires pejorative terms to describe how great Gary Gensler is, yada yada yada. So
you mean payday loan Sherman?
Yeah, exactly. Payday loan Sherman, the man who gets all his campaign money from banks and payday loan companies. So
well, you know, that's an example of like what we were talking about yesterday. All the other industries that try to extract wealth out of those that are in the most vulnerable position. If you know, we talked about gambling and drugs and booze and all that stuff, but damn, if payday loans isn't at the top of that list in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Chuck said he's playing for the senior VP spot at Goldman. Yeah, I agree. He's going to wipe out early leaders in DeFi for his buddies in TradFi and then collect his 40 pieces of silver as a subject matter expert for them. Totally agree. He'll be heavily involved in crypto intermediaries and middlemen. That will be his gig. That will be his gig. Absolutely. Shizzy says, you would think Dems would love this technology, but most of the Dems are just so old and afraid of change. Okay, so a couple of things here, Shizzy. First of all, that's some ageist shit, dude. And there are plenty of older people that love technology and love change and love advancements in technology. Second of all, both parties in Congress have an aged population as well. The population of the United States is aging. And third of all, I totally agree with you that Dems should embrace this technology. It's absolutely disparaging that the party that's supposed to be and always has been for the common man, for the little guy, is not realizing the power of this technology to equal the playing field. On the other side of the aisle, Republicans are not embracing this because they love change or they love technology or that they even fucking understand it. I guarantee you 90% of them beating up on Gensler right now do not have a clue what crypto or DeFi is or how it functions. The reason they're doing it is because they have a motivation as the small government party to destroy the financial system that pays for federal government services. And they see crypto as a way to do that. So they have their own peculiar biased motivations as well. Frankly, it's a fucking clusterfuck as far as I'm concerned. So let's see. Bitcoin and Ethereum are up, dude. Goes back to that conversation we had yesterday.
Yeah, you know, I threw something in the Telegram channel. Was it t.me/Mission DeFi?
Yep.
And in the Bitcoin one in specific about a Blockworks article I saw this morning that was, you know, comparing the cycles, and I threw it in there to see what Shizzy and Sean said. And, you know, I mean, I think you can pretty much guess which way each one went. But, you know, it was funny at the end of it, it was Shizzy's, you know, I think it was Shizzy saying 160 and Sean saying, no, I think it's more like, now, of course, this is after the deep V. Coming out of it, Sean's like, I think he said 225 to 500 grand a BTC. But, you know, so everybody's kind of, I think everybody's on the same wavelength. It's just, excuse me, on the same perspective, but it just matters as to which wave we're in at this point.
Right.
But yeah, again, we keep coming back to this, you know, I mean, I know everything's, God, it's killing me too. You know, yesterday I was kind of feeling it a lot more than today, but you know, like the sword of Damocles or whatever is hanging over everybody's neck right now. But damn, it just keeps going up, man. And there's something that I just don't understand. I know Sean would say trader games, I guess, but there's just something else going on that I don't know what we're picking up, what's not getting picked up on. And
yeah,
because, you know, I kind of went into on one of mine, you know, on Gene, you know, I kind of went into panic mode a little bit at 3 in the morning when I saw it dipping, and sure enough, it's back where it was. So
Right.
in ORD, the same thing. An ordinal play that I'm in. I was in OFI first. I tripled that, sold it, and then dumped it into ORD, and now I'm kind of riding those. But these are just going up and down.
Yeah.
So even like Maple, I was looking at Maple. I haven't taken a position yet, but I watched them, and it's the on-chain credit market thing, and I watched it. After I thought I watched it drop to like 460, and now it's back at 510 in like 48 hours. So there's a lot of trading opportunities out there right now, which I think is where money can be made, obviously, but it just keeps coming back, and I don't know why, but I'm actually using it to my advantage. I'm just trying to get caught with my pants down for that deep V. But even if the deep V hits, it's going to be short lived. So if you miss it, you just want to hold on. And, not financial advice, but it's not like it goes down and crabs sideways for 2 years. Is sort of what I'm gathering. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough right now. It's very tough psychologically.
CoinDesk reporting that. CoinDesk is reporting that positive flows for the 4th consecutive week into crypto, mostly into Bitcoin-related products. Took the majority share, totaling $104 million of the $114 million in total inflow into crypto.
Do you think that's going into ordinal? I saw the article today was talking about 5 billion looks like going into ordinals over this year, I believe.
That's crazy.
But I keep wondering if we're missing something on the NFT side. I was talking to a hedge fund yesterday about what they were thinking, about, the stable coin, the money going off. And they seem to feel more that it was just, all on the sidelines, but that it wasn't getting converted out. Now, I don't know, obviously these guys are super smart. But, I don't know how you look at that or how you figure that out. But I don't know, man. I just feel like there's a lot of dry powder out there. We talked to a lot of the same crypto funds, and they're all sitting on monster quantities of dry powder.
Yeah.
And they're not just investing in stuff now. They're actually taking positions in individual tokens. So, I don't want to name any names in particular, but, I'd say in the top 10, there's one in particular, and, she came out of A16Z. And she's sitting on, billions in dry powder right now.
Right.
I know other ones in the 30s and 20s that are, sitting on 60% dry powder. So, it's poised to go. I don't know when it goes, but it's like everybody's waiting for the deep V. So it's like, Sean, do it already, buddy. Come on. We're all waiting, buddy. We're all waiting.
Niblett said Dems should embrace the anti-corporate freedoms crypto enables. Democratizing finance should be a natural for them, but politics distorts things. Absolutely. Sean says crypto projects placing themselves in a position that a government official can have a material impact on them in any other way than short-term price have only themselves to blame. I would say, though, that had all of this been going on at the time that Bitcoin launched, I would say that there would have been some pressure there as well, at least for those on the core team that were developing it and mining it. Chuck said, I don't think that's right about the R's. I think they are the party of plutocrats and their handlers are flat out paying them to be opposed to crypto. That plus the money control over the working class. Niblett says, all predictions in finance are correct. The only question is on what time horizon.
There you go.
And Sean says, not so, Niblett. Most of the space goes to zero. Niblett says, sure, zero is on the horizon for most. Picking when and what happens in the interim is the trick. And Sean said, I would suggest that understanding the regime is more important. You are in sell the rip mode or buy the dip. And Shizzy says, no deep V coming, a dip back to 20,000 and a sell in May and go away before we march to 160K. And that felt like it rhymed. Did it rhyme? Felt like it rhymed.
Well, Sean's comment should be incoming here any second.
So this out from
that scared the shit out of me, dude.
Fucking crazy, dude.
I know.
So I'm going to try to summarize this thread for everybody because it's important, especially if you've been in the space for a while. they have he and some other folks have been for the past 48 hours unwinding what they're calling a massive wallet draining operation. Said he doesn't know how big it is, but since December of 2022, it's drained 5,000 plus ETH and unknown amount in tokens, NFTs, coins across 11 plus chains. Said it's wrecked my friends and OGs who are reasonably secure. No one knows how. They can't trace it back to any phishing site. They can't trace it back to a specific exploit of wallets. They can't trace it, I mean, in terms of like a hardware wallet or something. And these are all people, I shouldn't say all, there's a lot of people in this mix who are getting drained, who have, you know, great security. They have great security measures. They protect their seed phrases, they protect their private keys, etc. Some people are saying that maybe there was some kind of leak at some point in the past from wallets that weren't properly protecting seed phrases or seed phrases or private keys. But literally no one frigging knows how or why this is happening, and nobody can figure it out. So the recommendation is this: transfer, migrate all of your shit into other hardware wallets. Get it out of old wallets. This seems to be all wallets that are old. This has been going on for months. This is not something that just happened in the last 24 hours. It's just something that people are starting putting the pieces together because it's been one isolated wallet after another isolated wallet. But it is definitely kind of crazy. So they can't determine like any like real commonality between these, and they will come in, they'll sweep out all the ETH, and then they'll come back for the dust left in your wallet. Like they'll come back and then they conglomerate it all into another wallet, and then they're pushing it out to primarily Bitcoin, and then pushing it through the mixers. What's the wallet? There's a wallet in Bitcoin that everybody uses for the mixing stuff. Can't remember the name of it. Anyway, but if you got old wallets, frankly, if you got new wallets, it might be a good idea. You know what's interesting, Joe, is my buddy a little over a year ago, who's not an OG, who hasn't been in the space a long time, only been in for a little while. He had $110,000 drained out of his wallet with no perceivable reason why it had happened. We couldn't.
Well, he took his laptop to a computer repair guy, though, right? Is it a different guy, or is it the same guy I'm thinking of?
Did he take it to a computer repair guy?
The West Coast guy? I mean, Florida West Coast?
Yeah. Maybe he did. But I think there was something that made us eliminate that. I think it was the timing on when the wallet was set up versus when he took it in. And I think he took it in before he had set up the wallet, but maybe they installed some malware or something at that time. Who knows?
Yeah, there's some speculation in the comment feed on that thread. A couple of things, obviously, the output is that, no photos, obviously, no iCloud storage of seed phrases, none of that, that it only can be on paper. And even when you're putting it on paper, be careful around the cameras and stuff on your laptops and on your phones. Because, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen people turn on people's cameras. So, it's pretty much doable. And then the other thing I talked about was I thought that there was a prevalence of MetaMask Chrome versus, say, MetaMask Firefox or MetaMask.
That would make sense.
Brave.
It says draining OGMM users. Yeah, so it's definitely MetaMask. And I would assume Chrome being the #1 browser, that's why it would be mostly Chrome.
Yeah. And then somebody was speculating about a LastPass issue. But I don't know. I've never used that. I don't know if you put seed phrases in LastPass or not.
Well, you can because they're encrypted. But I don't know.
But like you said, Brad, it's either set up new. If you're in MetaMask, open up another browser on another device, set up a new wallet, move everything there.
Yeah.
Take that seed phrase, write it on friggin' paper away from your cameras. And then when you're using authenticator apps, don't do it in front of the camera on the laptop.
Right.
Put it under the table when you're looking at it or something. But something weird is going on here, as Brad pointed out.
Really strange.
You need to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean said that wallet is Wasabi on Bitcoin that does the mixing automatically. Sean replied to Shizzy. He said, he minimum 90% drawdown on shitcoins this year, maybe 100% for most of them, Shizzy. Niblet says, use a dedicated Linux box with lockdown non-Chrome browser. Yeah, that would be the ideal secure thing, is to have a secure Linux box. Use, there are some great secure and private Linux flavors that you can utilize that have built-in Tor, built-in VPN, encrypt everything. And there's some really interesting ways to protect yourself even further if you want to go nuts with it. But definitely some big concerns here with what's going on. So, and Niblet says, in handwritten seed phrases on paper, write extra and mail at least one to your mom for safekeeping. You remember the Winklevi brothers? Remember the story about what they did? It was in a book. I can't remember which book, but it was one of the earlier crypto books. They had so much Bitcoin that they took their private keys, divided them up, like literally chopped them up. And then each of the brothers traveled around the world, primarily US, but around the world, putting pieces of their private keys in lockboxes in banks all over the country. Like, they went to the full extreme on protecting that shit. Sean said, I have to trust my mom. I'm not even gonna go down that path. I'm gonna let that one just stay the way it is. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I think, I don't know about mailing it, but I think, definitely you stash them in different places you can get to. I don't know about breaking apart. I mean, I guess you could break up the words into, 3 groups and put them in different locations.
Now, this was private keys, not seed phrases. They were just chopping it up in blocks of numbers.
But I think, I like the idea of paper only, and, grandparents' house, maybe, when you visit over the holidays, go to one of their pictures, and they don't have to know it, obviously, and stick it behind the picture in the frame.
Yeah. Or, it's a pain in the ass. The other option is multi-sig wallets, right? Where, you could take it as simple as have it be a 2 out of 3, have your wife or mother have one of them, and then have one on one device and one on another device, right? So that at the very least, and with a hardware wallet, at the very least, you've got to have multiple interactions to authorize anything that happens on that wallet. But anyway,
but then you got to do anything. You have to do, like you said, you got to do those approvals, right?
Sean, exactly. Sean's in rare form today. He said, tattoo them jumbled up on the backs of your kids.
I was watching Archer the other day, man. I love that scene when he takes the baby out and they get tattoos of each other on their backs. The wee baby Seamus.
Niblet says you want different locations for paper because paper burns pretty easily if your house catches fire. Yep, absolutely. Flooding can be a problem as well. Rocket Pool's Atlas upgrade goes live, lowering Ethereum staking limits. Essentially, they're allowing you to kind of have a node at 8 ETH. I'm not sure how they're making it work, but pretty interesting innovation coming out. So glad to see that. Something else, it's funny how after the merge went so well, we're all kind of like, well, just another upgrade. There's like no fear or anything about $11 billion worth of ETH locked in staking. And nobody was like, well, they're doing the Chappella upgrade tonight. It's like, okay, no big deal. No, nobody was on edge. Nobody cared. Okay, great. It went through. I did a great interview this morning with the folks, David Garay from Raft, which is a new product from Tempest Financial. Tempest was the kind of money market like product on the stable side, lower returns, but only blue chip protocols. Obviously, during a bear market, they're returning like 0.3 to 0.5% interest. So they decided to kind of convert themselves into a DeFi product studio. And Raft is actually pretty cool. This is founded on the concept of creating a stable coin, but the stable coin is backed entirely by staking and borrowing against staked ETH. So you bring your STETH tokens in here. You can borrow against it. It'll let you loop it automatically up to 11 times. You can do up to 110% collateralized on each round, but obviously you have to be worried about liquidations. And for the first part of launch, there will be no interest rate and no fees. And they're going to be seeding multi-million dollars worth of liquidity with extra high APRs when they launch in May. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of opportunity to make some money. We talked through the model of how the stablecoin works against the lending protocol, how the redemption process works, how the liquidation process works. Sounds really great to me. I'm not a financial tokenomics or financial mechanisms technology expert, but everything sounded pretty good. Top of the line auditor doing the audit that's never had a breach on any of their audited projects, and a kind of powerful model for a decentralized stablecoin. The other thing I asked him about is, that's the other piece. God, the whole key piece. When you put your stake ETH in, you still get to keep your rewards. So you're still going to get your 4 or 5 or 6% earning on your Ethereum, right? So you're borrowing against it. But the beauty of it is as that staked reward accumulates and increases the value of the Ethereum you're holding in staking, it actually reduces the liquidation threshold for you, right? Because it's increasing the value of it if the price is maintained and all that good stuff. So that makes it interesting. And of course, my next question was, well, are you going to make it so that eventually I could have a self-repaying loan like Alchemix, right? Where I can just say, take 50% of my staking rewards and pay back my debt, right? Which would be, to me, the ideal way to do it. So really, I'm excited about this model. I like David. I've interviewed him before about their other platform. Very serious group. They have about 23 on the team, full BD team, full dev team, top of the line people, some TradFi, some, DeFi native, but really impressed with this. This is not financial advice. Could be hacked. Anything could happen. But I think this model has some legs. So we'll see what happens. They're launching it immutably. So no upgrades, radically decentralized in terms of launch. And so anyway, we'll see what happens. I personally, this is not financial advice, but I personally will probably dive into some of those stablecoin yields that they're going to put up at the end of May to seed the liquidity on this platform. So,
yeah, speaking of yields, I went into Camelot today because, I have some stuff in there and their Nitro pools. And there's a new one called Modular Wallet that kind of looks sort of similar to Harbor.fi. I mean, not similar, but, another cool play that allows you to trade the GMX perps on your phone, plus a few other things. So
that sounds cool.
They got a token MOD, and it seems to be single token staking pool, a 5-day lock, paying, I think, 360%. APR, I guess. Yeah. And so I was like, what the hell? So I started playing in that, but because I'm happy with that with Camelot. I like Camelot a lot now.
Right.
And I've been surprised by the Arbitrum system. I mean, Arbitrum's up to like $1.75 now, and those things are moving. So again, there's a lot of energy there. So there are opportunities out there. Yeah. If you find single staking with 363%, you remember last week there was the LUSD USDC pool for, I think it was for like about an hour or two. It was at 20,000% or something like that.
Yeah.
It's still at 40%, and that's
awesome.
A stable pair. So there's a lot of opportunity out there right now.
Yeah.
Well, there's Modular.
Absolutely. Niblet says 360 APR. What was that token again?
MOD, Modular, the one you have up right now.
Yeah. Yeah, modular wallet. A modular system has been devised, self-custodial wallet with modular framework built natively on Arbitrum and powered by Mod Token. Modular.pk is the website. And they have their timeline on the homepage. Not a lot else. Oh, they got their deck up.
Yeah.
That looks very interesting, Joe. Oh, I gotta put my email.
Yeah, take a look at it.
I will, definitely.
And it's on Camelot. So
nice.
app.camelot.exchange, and just click into the Nitro pools. It's the last one on there.
Thanks for the alpha, Joe. Sean said, in fact, one of the best suggestions is to pick some kind of obscure song lyrics and don't write them down at all.
Oh.
Like,
That's
does he mean
interesting.
make song lyrics from the seed phrase? Is that what he means?
Or you could also go to, I think what he's saying is pick lyrics that you know and make a seed phrase from that. Or just go to a page in a book
Yeah,
and circle words.
Yeah, you can mnemonically associate words in the song with the seed phrase words. Chuck says the beefy vault for Canto/Note has been over 250% APY for almost a month now. Yeah, I'm getting some tasty on my ETH Canto pair and my BTC Canto pair, some nice tasty APYs right now. So over on Velocimeter via Beefy. So
yeah, the same thing with that genome ETH pool over on Camelot. That one's still holding at like 440%.
Nice.
But you got a 3-month lock on that one. So which I'm not too,
still, that's
I'm
one
not
of
too
those
worried
that
about that.
you're investing in the fundamentals. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not advising anyone that its fundamentals are good, but Joe and I both having worked, especially Joe, having worked a lot in the sci-fi space or sci-fi space, should be sci-fi space. Have a love for the what's possible in the genetic space and intertwined with crypto and blockchain. So
yes.
Niblet says Chuck shot and manually compounding on Canto offers 150 APR, which is about 320% APY. Shizzy said, I wrote my mom a birthday card with the words in it. She was confused, but I know she always keep the cards. That's awesome, Shizzy. I freaking love that. Mom will never throw away your birthday card. So better than auto compounding on Beefy or Velo. Why is it better than auto compounding on Beefy Niblets? I'd love to hear your reasoning on that.
I think because a higher APY.
Oh, yeah, but I like the automation. I don't have to fucking deal with it.
Well, yeah, we used to have fun doing that, like, I don't know, 21, but God, it got tiring. I spent 2 hours in there just compounding shit.
Yep. Unfortunately, my buddies over at 100 Finance, who were exceedingly careful, multiple audits of their chain, their smart contracts, et cetera, were lost 7 million in hack optimism. I was always impressed with those guys. I interviewed them and was impressed with how conservative they were to their approach to deploying shit. And so bummed to hear they got hit. I guess it shouldn't be surprising at this point though. So
yeah,
Schnibble says because 320% is greater than 250% by a long way. No, I get that, but like, are you doing this like every 12 minutes, dude? I mean, seriously, maybe you got a bot running. I don't know. BNB Chain came out with a list of 191 high-risk, untrustworthy dApps and fake tokens on their chain. Love that they're doing this, but how do you keep up with that? Like, by the time they publish this list, that shit's been rug pulled. You know what I mean? It's like trying to keep up with the scammers it's like the fucking whack-a-mole of the century.
But then you also set yourself up for legal exposure. Because, then everybody who gets hacked right before that, why didn't you tell us earlier?
Yeah, or the projects that aren't flaky could sue you for harming their value.
Exactly.
Tether market cap eyes record high after regaining 65% stablecoin dominance. So I think USDC is still feeling the pain of losing that peg. Nearly April 17th reached nearly $81 billion, just 1.5% below its record high of $82.29 billion from a year ago. Yet another reason I'm happy to see RAF doing what they're doing, because frankly, we need something besides this and USDC.
Well, it was interesting with that legislation. I think it came out Friday in the Congress about the stablecoin bill, whatever that was called. It basically was, it basically said, if I remember correctly, that you had to at least have one-to-one coverage with, actually cash or treasury securities or things like that. And they basically said that, USDC, USDT, and what would be the third one?
DAI.
No, there was another. I don't think it was DAI. Maybe it was DAI, but one of them where they are already that way. So the three dominant ones, are already that way. And they basically are banning the algorithmic ones, of course.
Of course.
But, remember all that stuff with USDT like 2 years ago when it was, all what was backing it. It's interesting to know now that there are, real assets backing it. So, I'm wondering how long it takes before. I mean, I guess they're complying with everything from the regulators, which is a solid thing. But I mean, that 81 number is going to cause the people that don't really get it to go, "Hey, what the fuck?" They're doing it again. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm surprised it's that big.
This next story is not crypto or NFT related, but it is somewhat ancillary. But if you're not paying attention to what's going on in AI, you're going to have your lunch eaten. The Sony Photography does an annual photography award contest, and the guy that won the overall prize had submitted an AI generated photo just to see if an AI generated photo could win the prize. It did. He rejected the prize. But things are going to change in this world. And for a bunch of photography experts to not be able to see that a photo was in fact AI generated tells you that the world's going to change pretty significantly. So get on it.
I saw something on that topic. One more thing on that topic. I saw somebody talking about, was it Bloomberg? There was an article in Bloomberg maybe yesterday about how AI is able to now supposedly, allegedly, predict price directional movement based upon the headline or something like that.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's a sentiment driving thing, I guess. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And they have historical record, right? It can go back and say, okay, let me look at all the headlines ever about this company. What was the sentiment? What happened to the stock price after the headlines came out? So makes sense.
I was working with a company back in the aughts, 2006-ish, and this is back when it was, I guess predictive analytics and neural networks and things like that. And they had an ability to look at, I don't want to say the country or the events, but they had an ability to predict certain types of events in a country where a lot of these events happen based upon, they call them antecedents. So they basically pick these fields where, like, if an article came out talking about this, and then, there was like, another at least 60 different fields, related to other areas of, I guess, life, from anything from an arrest to, just real world stuff, then they could predict the probability of this event happening. And it sure sounds a lot like what these guys, the ones you just talked about, are doing, like the sentiment forecasting off a headline. They could, they were predicting almost with, 95% plus accuracy, bad events and intercepting them before they happened. So, that's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So absolutely. God knows what all this stuff can do now.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's completely crazy. Hold on one second. What did I do with it? Got something I wanted to show. I got exclusive access to the new Solana phone that launched yesterday. So I've got what did I do with it?
You're the only one who's getting one?
Yeah, I'm the only one that got one. It's hold on, I'll share it with you. It's
speaking of, when I saw that announcement, I was thinking about Matt, who we had on the show, Matt Carstens, because he's got something. I guess I don't know if I sort of think it's public, but with these Wi-Fi nodes that these phones are going to be running off of, and NFTs that are tied to each node, that then you could trade and do things with, and I guess you earn transaction fees by calls getting routed through your node.
Yeah.
That's going to be a really, I'm kind of digging in more into that, but that's going to be a really interesting play with the phone.
Well, here's the home screen of the new Solana phone, and
we still see Uniswap.
This is exclusive, so yeah, I'm going to show you right now.
Okay,
that's the new home screen of the Solana phone.
Reboot chain. There you go. All right. So we're getting into satire. Yeah, that's funny because we haven't heard much out of like Solana or Avalanche lately.
No,
I,
we
I
haven't.
was I was kind of just I went over and looked at Phantom, some stuff on Phantom today, and I was like, damn, I haven't been over here in like 4 weeks.
Right?
And and then I started thinking, oh shit, Avalanche, I haven't been over there in like a year.
Right.
Solana,
Crazy.
I was never there, but it's
Yeah.
like still it was all the talk, at one
Yep.
point.
Absolutely. Niblets asks, what are those two buttons at the bottom for? Decoration? I don't know. You'll have to ask ChatGPT, who created that for me.
That's the ejector button.
Brian Armstrong says, was in UK yesterday meeting with officials and says Coinbase could move away from the US if no regulatory clarity. CEO Brian Armstrong. Yeah, well, the Bittrex CEO is not very happy. He announced he was moving away from the US and then got fucking sued.
Indicted or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Indict is not the right word, but yeah.
Yeah. So,
you might want to do that first before you open your mouth, Brian.
Exactly.
But hey, Crypto London, baby. Crypto London.
Yeah.
Not really. No.
Cool.
Just gearing up for consensus. What else? Talked about modular. Just the how we all feel. I mean, I'm excited for the show on Thursday with Sean to get his latest take on everything, of course.
Yep.
It's funny when I do sort of mention his analysis to people, in the hedge fund space, and their answer is always to like what Niblets has said, and we all kind of say their answer is like, well, when? It's like, although we don't have that answer, buddy.
Yeah.
So it's like I find it interesting because, it seems like the Blockworks thing was saying 45. I'm like, does the 45 happen before the deep V correction? Or does it go that way now? I mean, I just have no clue. So,
yeah.
But either way, long term, we're all looking good, right?
I would hope so.
I think Sean made the call today in the channel of like 225 to 500 on the next run up for BTC.
Nice.
Not financial advice, of course, and not putting words in people's mouths, but that's where we end up after all this crazy stuff.
Sean is in such good form today, dude. I wish he was on today. Sean said, Jesus, America, please keep Armstrong. You need to talk to your government. Tell them to act like more like the SEC, dude. And speaking of all that alpha that's going on, airdrop alpha, Bitcoin alpha, general Ethereum alpha, general DeFi protocol alpha. If you're not in the Telegram group, you're missing out. T.me/mission DeFi, T.me/mission DeFi. We had a nice little set of group folks that joined yesterday. So thanks to all of you that came in to join the community. When you do come in, go to the introduce yourself channel. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about how you found the channel, or just tell us to fuck off. Either way, we're all good and we're all happy with that. Please, though, if you have thoughts, ideas, concepts, questions, don't hesitate to ask them in there. We're really trying to build a place where people can come in, share their ideas and thoughts, and have a good time. So please make sure you join. If you're watching on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please make sure you rate and review us. Just take the 2 minutes it takes to do that. It really helps us boost the show and the ratings. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Click the little bell so you get alerted when new episodes are out, and make sure you smash the thumbs up so we get boosted in the algorithm as well. That is it for me today, Joe. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, you too, buddy. And we will see everybody on Thursday. Thanks for being here, and look forward to sharing more wisdom then.
All right. See ya. We're checking